How do you separate legal principles from court case remarks? Imagine you're reading a court decision and trying to figure out what rules actually come from the case versus what the judge just said in passing. It can be tricky, but understanding this difference is key to grasping how the legal system works. When courts decide cases, they create rules called legal principles that set examples for future cases. These principles are the core rules that judges relying on to make decisions later on. On the other hand, court remarks, often called obiter dicta, are comments judges make that are not essential to the decision. These remarks might offer opinions or explanations but do not have binding power. To separate the two, start by looking at the part of the decision called the holding. The holding is the main rule or principle that the court applies to resolve the case. It is directly linked to the facts and the outcome. This is what becomes the legal precedent. Next, identify any comments or statements that seem to be extra explanations or opinions. These are usually not necessary to the decision and are not part of the core rule. They are the court's observations that do not have to be followed in future cases. Another step is to analyze whether the statement is part of the court's reasoning, called the ratio decidendi, or just commentary. The ratio decidendi is the legal rule that the court uses to decide the case. If a statement is part of this reasoning, it is a legal principle. If it's just an aside or extra comment, it's a court remarking. It's also helpful to look at decisions from higher courts. Higher courts tend to set more authoritative legal principles, while remarks in lower courts are less binding. Using legal research tools like case law databases can make this easier. These tools often highlight the main holdings separately from the comments. In courtrooms, lawyers and judges relying on the legal principles to argue and decide cases. Remarks might be used to support reasoning or to suggest how the law might develop, but they are not rules that must be followed. Recognizing this difference helps in applying case precedent correctly and understanding how laws are built from judicial decisions. So, when you're reading a court decision, focus on the part that directly answers the legal question. That's the legal principle. Then look for any extra comments or opinions that don't directly influence the decision. Those are court remarks. By doing this, you can clearly see what rules are binding and what comments are just extra thoughts from the judge.